Imagine waking up one day to find that you and everyone else on the planet are now millionaires. What would happen? This is the fascinating premise we're going to unpack today. We'll delve into the wide-ranging implications, from the economic shifts to the social consequences and even the political ramifications. What would a world of millionaires look like? What challenges and opportunities could it present? These are the questions we're going to explore. So let's dive in and explore this intriguing scenario. First, consider the economic implications. You might think that everyone becoming a millionaire would be a financial utopia, right? Well, let's delve a little deeper into the economics of this scenario. The first thing to consider is inflation. Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising. So, when there's a sudden influx of money into the economy, like everyone suddenly having $1 million, the value of money decreases. This means the prices of goods and services would skyrocket. A loaf of bread, for instance, would no longer cost a couple of bucks. With everyone a millionaire, it might cost hundreds or even thousands. This brings us to our next point, the devaluation of currency. When everyone has $1 million, that $1 million isn't really worth $1 million anymore. It's like when everyone gets a trophy, the trophy loses its value. So your $1 million would not be able to buy you what it once could. Moreover, the sudden influx of money could result in an economic imbalance. Some businesses might see a surge in demand for their products or services. Other businesses, however, might see a drastic drop. This imbalance could lead to businesses shutting down, loss of jobs, and potentially, the collapse of economies. Consider also the impact on the global economy. If one country's currency dramatically devalues, it affects the global market. Other countries might stop trading with that country, leading to even more economic instability. And let's not forget about the wealth gap. While everyone having $1 million might initially seem like it would close the wealth gap, the reality is, it would likely exacerbate it. Those with knowledge and resources could make their $1 million grow, while those without could see their $1 million dwindle, further widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots. So yes, everyone becoming a millionaire sounds like a dream, but the economic reality would be quite different. The consequences, inflation, devaluation of currency, economic imbalance, global economic impact, and an exacerbated wealth gap, could be disastrous. As you can see, this economic utopia could quickly turn into a dystopia. Now let's move on to the social consequences. With everyone having $1 million, the social dynamics would drastically shift. Imagine waking up one day to find out that you, your neighbor, your boss, the mailman, everyone you know and don't know, is now a millionaire. Undeniably, the fabric of society as we know it would transform. Let's delve into this new world and see what might happen. First off, we'd likely see a significant change in work ethic. With a cool $1 million in the bank, would people feel the need to work? Some people might decide to quit their jobs right away, relishing the sudden freedom. Others might choose to keep working, but perhaps with a reduced schedule or in a job they truly love, rather than one they need to pay the bills. Now, let's talk about leisure time. It's safe to say that with fewer work hours, people would have more time to enjoy life. We might see a boom in hobbies, sports, travel, and other recreational activities. This could lead to a flourishing of creativity and innovation, as people have the freedom to pursue their passions without the worry of financial constraints. However, it's not all roses. We should also consider the potential for an increase in crime. While it's tempting to think that with everyone being a millionaire, crime rates would drop, the reality could be quite different. Money can often breed greed, and the sudden influx of wealth might encourage some to seek even more by any means necessary. Finally, what about social classes? Would they still exist? In a world where everyone starts with the same amount of money, the concept of wealth inequality might initially disappear. But over time, we might see new classes emerge based on how people manage their newfound wealth. So, socially, this scenario could lead to both positive and negative consequences. The shift in work ethic and increase in leisure time could lead to a more relaxed and creative society. However, the potential increase in crime and the reshaping of social classes could also create new challenges and conflicts. The question remains, would everyone being a millionaire be a utopia or dystopia? Finally, let's consider the political implications. A sudden wealth increase could drastically alter political landscapes. Let's begin with power dynamics. Money, as we know, is a form of power. In a world where everyone suddenly gains $1 million, the balance of power would certainly shift. The traditional hierarchies based on wealth and resources could rapidly transform. This could lead to a degree of political instability as new power players emerge and old ones struggle to maintain their influence. Next, we'd have to consider the potential increase in corruption. With more money in the system, there could be a rise in fraudulent activities and bribery. This isn't to suggest that every individual would become corrupt, but in a society flooded with money, the temptation and opportunities for illicit activities could certainly increase. Government policies and programs could also undergo significant changes. Governments might need to reassess their social welfare programs. After all, if everyone has $1 million, would there still be a need for unemployment benefits or social security payments? However, this would also depend on whether the sudden wealth increase leads to inflation or not. If it does, the value of $1 million could diminish, and the need for these programs might persist. Moreover, governments might also have to rethink their taxation policies. With everyone becoming a millionaire overnight, the tax brackets would need to be reevaluated. This could lead to a major overhaul of the taxation system. In the international arena, the global power dynamics could shift as well. Countries that previously relied on foreign aid might no longer need it. This could alter geopolitical relationships and alliances. Of course, these are only potential implications. The actual impact would depend on a multitude of factors, including how individuals, governments, and institutions react to this sudden wealth increase. Therefore, the political implications of this scenario are vast and complex. So, what's the reality of this scenario? Is it even possible for everyone to become a millionaire? Well, let's dive into the numbers and see what they reveal. The total wealth of the world is estimated to be around $360 trillion. Yes, that's a staggering number, but even more staggering is the scale of global population. We are, after all, talking about nearly 8 billion people. So if we were to evenly distribute the total global wealth amongst everyone, each person would receive around $45,000, a tidy sum certainly, but far short of the $1 million mark. Moreover, wealth isn't evenly distributed, and it never has been. A tiny fraction of the population controls a disproportionately large share of the world's wealth. The richest 1%, for instance, holds nearly half of the world's total wealth. The bottom half of the population, on the other hand, holds less than 1%. This stark disparity in wealth distribution makes the idea of everyone becoming a millionaire even more unrealistic. Not only is there not enough wealth to go around, but the mechanisms of wealth creation and distribution are also inherently unequal. Furthermore, wealth isn't just about money, it's about assets, real estate, stocks, businesses, and so on. Simply giving everyone $1 million wouldn't necessarily make them wealthy in the long run, especially if the underlying structures of wealth creation remain unchanged. So, while the thought of everyone becoming a millionaire might be a compelling one, the numbers tell a different story. The total global wealth, the current distribution of wealth, and the underlying mechanisms of wealth creation all point to the conclusion that this scenario is, in fact, a pipe dream. In reality, this scenario is highly unlikely, if not impossible. The world is far more complex than a simple equation of give everyone $1 million and see what happens. So, as we dream big, let's also stay grounded in the real world, where wealth is not just about money, but about opportunity, access, and the ability to create value. In conclusion, the scenario of everyone becoming a millionaire is a fascinating thought experiment, but not a practical reality. Over the course of this video, we've delved deep into the potential implications of such a situation. We've understood that economically, distributing $1 million to every person on Earth would cause a dramatic shift in the world's financial landscape. It would lead to hyperinflation, making everyday goods and services exorbitantly expensive, and essentially devaluing the $1 million you just received. Socially, this sudden influx of wealth could lead to a breakdown of societal norms and structures. We might see a rise in crime rates, as the value of hard work and earning one's keep could be diminished. There could be a potential loss of motivation and productivity, which are key drivers of societal growth and progress. Politically, the implications could be just as profound. Governments would struggle to maintain control and order, with the wealth disparity eliminated overnight. This could lead to political instability and potentially even civil unrest. In essence, while the idea of everyone suddenly becoming a millionaire might sound appealing at first glance, it's important to remember that such a drastic change would have widespread and potentially devastating consequences. So, while it's fun to dream about, the reality of everyone becoming a millionaire would be far more complex and potentially disastrous than it might initially seem.